All right, we're live. We're live with Real Fridays every Friday at 12:30. Every Friday at 12:30 is Real Fridays, and Real Fridays is a show that I started with a couple other mortgage professionals regarding with the premise of doing kind of an inside, deeper look on mortgage, housing, and real estate from insiders to talk about not just what's happening from a industry rumor standpoint, leadership, technology, market trends. And just various innovations, things that are impacting a consumer's ability to qualify for a mortgage. And in the past, we have Samir Sen, the founder of Flair Labs, and we had Samir. God, when was it, Samir? Was it a couple months ago, or maybe it was longer than that? It may have been.
Yeah, I think it was. It was probably in the summer or before that.
Yeah. And right out from Palo Alto, from Stanford University, you created your company Flair Labs, which has created quite a buzz in mortgage around the outbound automation, the voice automation to help loan officers and servicers capture business and or attract new business. So just wanted to catch up, man. I reached out to you to say let's have you back on the show to understand what progress you've made, what observations you've had on the business, and I'd love to take a look under the hood of Flair Lab, of your product to see where how it's evolved. So
Awesome.
Tell me, give me the update, man. Give me the update on where you're at as an organization.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to be back. A lot has changed since we were last on. We raised a round of funding and are started to work with some of the top lenders in the country. Helping with outbound phone calls to prospective home buyers, sellers, investors, and loan applicants. I think you froze.
Oh. Did I freeze?
Oh, no.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, no,
no,
I
froze. So that's great. So how many? Give me an idea of how many calls a week or how many calls a month, however you're measuring it. That your automated, your automated voice AI solution is making.
Yeah, so we've really scaled up in the last few months. We're now operating over 3 million calls a month for some of the top lenders in the country. We're helping drive originations. We're helping offload a lot of the communication overhead on the servicing side. And we've started to see that there's also bottlenecks that exist, within the origination stack, beyond the top of funnel, going into processing and even, through to the closing and funding of a loan.
No, that's incredible. 3 million phone calls a month is really incredible. Now, are those primarily to consumers or are those B2B, like from mortgage lenders to realtors? Or is it sort of all the above in whatever use case a lender has or a real estate agency has?
Yeah, within a mortgage organization, we found that actually the communication spans a large amount of use cases. The biggest, of course, is reaching out to prospective borrowers, which comprises a bulk of the conversations that we're running. But that being said, we found that most of the companies we work with have some trouble keeping up with realtors, forming connections with partners, recruiting LOs. So there's a wide span of use cases that we're powering with voice AI. The experiences are natural and lifelike and are able to handle many of the twists and turns of the conversation, but we've specifically focused on mortgage-related use cases.
What's interesting is because I think you guys started on the real estate space, right? You started with
yes.
With realtors and the realtor to consumer engagement, and then you began sort of just going deeper into the funnel of the transaction. I think that flexibility is really, really powerful. I wonder how a lender could almost collaborate with realtors. So if I'm a lender and I were to use your solution, is there a way I could collaborate with my top performing realtors that are the source of my business by somehow allowing them to share my instance of your solution or something? I'm just brainstorming off the cuff. I mean, we didn't talk about this, but I was just curious.
Definitely. We have loan officer partners that are now reaching out to, top realtors that are within the area, and basically able to form partnerships with new realtor partners. And that's all driven by AI assistance. The cool thing that we're noticing is that the top LO teams that are producing the most volume are actually leveraging AI assistants that are working on their behalf in the background. And the ones that aren't, leveraging this technology are really missing out on a wealth of opportunities that are surfaced through these background workers.
Yeah. Huh. That's really fascinating. I like how you call them like they're background workers, that they're like they're actual workers, but they're virtual workers. It's essentially what we're talking about. It's incredible. Talking about being able to sort of be in two places at once, almost quite literally. How are you seeing the market, man? Like, you're, out of grad school, and you've done a very sophisticated sort of deep dive on the technology, but then you surveyed the market and you said, like, hey, there's a need for this type of solution. Since you've entered into the commercial space of deploying a solution like this, and you see the rise of all these other competitive platforms, come to surface, like, how are you observing the market? Like, what do you think the status of outbound voice AI is like today? And where do you think it's sort of heading? In heading could be 6 months from now, given the acceleration of the space. But I'm just curious, like, how do you see it?
Yeah, definitely. There are a number of voice AI players that are coming up across domains. The biggest one being in customer support, because that's the most obvious application of voice AI.
Yeah.
Given the amount of calls and the amount of conversations that are involved with support related tasks. But what we found was that there's actually a nuance that's involved in mortgage conversations. And the actual voice AI technology hasn't received as much adoption, even though it's one of the biggest use cases for the technology. And in particular, being able to have a flexible enough infrastructure to be able to support custom customizations for custom workflows and customizations for each individual organization is one that a horizontal sort of solution wouldn't address.
Yeah. It's always interesting because, when like ChatGPT first came out, the encouragement was to, like, kind of the more you use it, the more it becomes sort of acutely aware of how you speak, right? And you can have it respond or type up this article, or how should I respond, to this email, but use the Rick Rock speech or use how I speak typically. So that way it sort of over time, gradually gets to know the person, I don't know, that's using the tool. Is that how your solution works, or is that how this solution should work, do you think? Or like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot more that goes into allowing for a large amount of phone calls at scale beyond the AI. The AI itself has been trained on millions of conversations that are mortgage and real estate specific conversations. So the AI knows about DSCR loans, they know about non-QM loans, it knows how to introduce certain offerings like buy before you sell within conversation. So it has that context baked in, and is able to naturally propose certain solutions based on the scenario that we hear from customers. So that part is more specific and positioned for mortgage related conversations. But beyond that, even the infrastructure that has been built to run a large amount of calls at scale is really where a lot of action is happening behind the scenes. So for example, relationships with telephone carriers is a major one. Being able to make sure that your brand is being reflected to the end carrier T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, so that actually the display name can pop up as the caller ID, is a big lift in terms of in terms of credibility and trust. And the second is being able to manage a large amount of phone numbers, so that we can actually match exactly the local presence of a specific customer down to the area code.
Yeah. Interesting. I do find the ability to really hone in and zero in on the communication to reflect an organization or a user in the most acute of terms, right? I think the solution that you've built and that others are building are fascinating, and they're just giant accelerators of efficiency, right? As one mortgage professional once said, we have millions of records that simply go untouched. Millions of
100%. Yeah, and there's a statistic that says that a third of the opportunities that come through for a specific loan officer or a real estate agent are actually from their past clients. But today, the majority of real estate agents and loan officers don't have enough bandwidth on hand to actually keep in touch in a consistent way with their past customers. That can be fully enabled with voice AI, with AI workers, background assistants, that work invisibly in the background. So it doesn't really change any of the workflow that agents are doing today, but simply provides the upside of having added opportunities just come inbound to you. And the way that we're seeing this play out in the market is that we've turned something that has been traditionally outbound for many professionals into inbound, and that's really valuable. So instead of having to dial through so many potential borrowers, going through voicemails just because you're not able to connect at the right time, having an AI do that for you turns something that's typically been outbound into now inbound opportunities that are coming into your business, helping to drive origination volume at the top of the funnel.
Yeah. So what are you seeing as the biggest challenges in the space, or are you seeing other companies like struggling? What are some of the technology sort of struggles?
Yeah. So
challenges you're trying to overcome to be like the most effective solution out there.
Right. That's a great question. So what we've seen is that there are a lot of players in the market that are building more or less horizontal solutions that are generally trying to wrap over the core voice and AI technology to build like a conversation. But that conversation doesn't solve the full workflow and all the nuances that are required to make a solution truly effective for your team. And that's where we see, that's where we see the biggest hurdle, but also the biggest upside for teams is once those, granular workflows and customizations have been solved, it becomes a real driver of growth for the teams. For example, what we're seeing is that once the conversation is, the conversation flow and style has been tailored and iterated on, going beyond that to actually running live calls, we find that there are certain aspects that make the outcome, more effective. So for example, setting up an appointment on its own is probably not enough to push the borrower towards filling an application. Yeah. So pairing that with a text component, pairing that with what we've added as a group chat feature, where we actually concierge in both a loan officer and a borrower together in a single text thread, where we introduce and pass the notes of the conversation the AI had, is really effective in driving that conversation forward and leads to a much higher rate, application fill-up rate. And we're noticing the same thing on the back face of the funnel as well. So once the applications move from the application phase to now processing and underwriting, being able to use AI effectively to follow up on certain documentations, understand autonomously whether certain fields are incorrect or missing, and request those from users is sort of like a secondary benefit of having these workers that are still positioned to do this very well, capture all of the materials, and therefore move from clear to close much faster than in-house processing teams without AI today.
Got it. Interesting. No, I love it too. What do you think is next in the space? I mean, like once the AI becomes smart enough and more I don't even know what the right technical or human terms to use, right? When it becomes more acutely conversational with the consumer, I mean, I guess is it just a matter of just going deeper and deeper and deeper into the relationship as far as like where?
Yeah. So the way that we see it is that there's going to be workers that address every type of communication overhead that exists within, say, the mortgage process. We're already seeing that at the top of funnel, driving originations for people that are looking for various kinds of loans, right? There's going to be AI agents that are specialized in FHA and VA loans, AI agents that are specialized in conversations about buy before you sell offers, about HELOCs, refi, and new purchase. From there, going further, we also are building AI agents that can handle verification of income and employment during processing and underwriting, provide that as a service, and move even further to digital workers that handle servicing related calls, activating existing clients that may benefit from a refinance, for example, as well as service related calls as borrowers get enrolled in their mortgage.
Got it. So like, I wouldn't mind are you prepared? Can we actually take a look at Flair?
Yeah, I would love to.
Available? I'd love to just take a look at it and see. You should be able to maybe share your screen or something through the app here.
Yeah, let me.
I'd love to just understand like a good example or a good illustration of it.
Excellent. All right, can you guys see the screen?
Let's see. I guess I have to add you to the stage. Oh, here we go. Perfect.
Yeah, so here is the Flair dashboard. This is what every mortgage team gets when they onboard into Flair. And what you see here is that we have our AI concierge that is speaking with borrowers in real time. And a lot of these conversations are happening in real time, just from this morning, maybe even a few minutes ago, where we're able to deliver conversations at scale in a very consistent way, heavily guardrailed to handle all the twists and turns of the conversation, but most importantly, provide the most graceful experience for end borrowers, and therefore represent the mortgage company's brand in the best way. So what we see here is we have a conversation. I'll go ahead and play the call so that you can hear what it sounds like, and then go through some of the details.
Hi, Carla. Hello. Oh, hi there. This is Claire, a digital assistant with West Capital Lending from Michael's team on a recorded line. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Glad to hear it. I'm calling about your recent interest in a home equity line of credit on our website. Do you have a minute to talk?
Do what now?
I'm just following up because you showed interest in a home equity line of credit, also known as a HELOC. Do you have a minute to chat about it?
Sure.
Perfect. So one of our experienced loan consultants can tailor a solution that's perfect for you. And to do that, we just need to gather some income information about your work. Can you please tell me, are you self-employed or do you work for an employer?
I'm retired.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you receive any other sources of income such as pensions, Social Security, or retirement distributions?
Social Security.
Got it. And can you please tell me how much you earn annually from Social Security?
1900.
Thank you. And may I ask, what's the purpose of this loan?
Just I just need to catch up on things and get things on a more even keel.
So you can see that the conversation went for about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And actually, this conversation ended up being live transferred to a loan officer that could then help the borrower further submit exactly the loan application and actually get funded for their loan. And what you see here is actually we have all of the all of the agents that are on the team that we're working with that are all poised to receive a transfer. And we're actually able to parallel dial all of them so that the opportunity isn't missed. And what you can see here is...
So that way you're never going to transfer it to somebody that's not available. Someone's going to pick it up.
Exactly. We're not going to transfer. We ultimately want to have the best experience for the consumer. And that experience is to have the lowest amount of hold time, as well as being able to actually speak to a licensed agent. And that's why what we do is when we work with a team that might have 10 LOs, we actually only transfer to the agent that's available.
Got it. Interesting. No, that's fascinating. No,
and I think back on the last point that you were saying that we were discussing, yeah, a lot of the value is not just driven by the conversation, but a lot of the details around the conversation. So for example, what we do is before sending a transfer, we actually send a text, and that text contains a synopsis of the conversation so far, so that even when an agent picks up the phone, they're able to refer to that synopsis in real time, knowing that, this person is looking for a HELOC and this is what their situation is, so that they have that context even before going in the conversation.
Yeah.
So those small details help a lot in making the customer's experience ultimately a lot better.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating, man. I love how the borrower was fairly difficult to hear, was fairly difficult to understand, and the AI voice bot was able to sort of understand it and be able to sort of respond quite accurately. Do you have any other samples you could that you could provide, or any kind of real test cases?
Yes. Yeah. Let me just pull some up real quick.
Yeah.
And I want to share some of the numbers as well. I think that's pretty interesting. So let me just pull that up.
And I'm assuming if you only want it to go to a single phone number or to a single LO who is standing by or whatever the case may be, you can configure it to do that as well. Or
of
you
course,
can have
yeah,
a myriad of backups.
Exactly. It's up to you, but we have all the configurations available. And the way that we learn that all these configurations are useful is by working with so many teams, where we found exactly the right fit for each team that we work with.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me pull up another call, and then I also want to pull up some of the stats. All right, so this is also a call from just today. Yeah, so this is a call just from today, earlier today, and
Oh, are you? Oh, you're waiting for me. My bad.
Your work.
To put it on. Go ahead.
You were you able to
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
it?
yeah. I wasn't showing you your screen. Go ahead and start that one over.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
okay. All right. You can try maybe.
Hi, Pedro.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
Hello?
hi there. This is Alex, digital assistant with West Capital Lending from Irina's team on a recorded line. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Oh, good. I'm calling about your recent interest in a home purchase loan on our website. Do you have a
Yes.
minute to talk?
Yes.
Perfect. So one of our experienced loan consultants can tailor a solution that's perfect for you. And to do that, we just need to gather some income information about your work. Can you please tell me, are you self-employed or do you work for an employer?
An employer.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you receive any other sources of income such as bonuses, alimony, or rental income?
No.
Okay, and may I ask, what's the purpose of this loan?
I'm just looking how much I can get and the interest rate in order to see if I can afford to buy a house. A townhouse or small apartment.
Thanks for letting me know. Since you're interested in seeing how much you could qualify for and learning about possible rates to plan for a home purchase, can you share if you have a specific property address in mind, or are you still searching?
A specific address in order to buy?
Got it.
Hello?
So you're still searching and figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah.
We'd love to connect you with our loan consultant who can strategize a game plan around what you're looking for. Please hold on just a minute while I connect you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'll connect you now. Please hold.
So again, yeah, that went to a transfer and ended up getting picked up by the loan consultant on this team that could help drive that conversation forward, fill the application, and go to next steps.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing here is really this is a concierge deployment, which is not intended in any way to actually replace anything that a loan officer does, except for turn the most tedious part of the process, which is outbounding, into inbound, and make sure that the coverage includes not only all of the possible opportunities like currently, but also leveraging past clients as well.
Interesting. No, the what in the overview, yeah. So what's the so that's just a summary dashboard of all the calls that are going out and the number of leads being touched?
Yeah, so I want to go through some of these as well, because we're seeing some pretty interesting statistics for the teams that we work with. And we can kind of go through this as it loads. I'm loading a little bit more data from, say, the last month. So this is 1 month of data. And what we see here is that out of about 5,800, 5,900 leads, we were able to connect with around 1,500 of them and transfer over 158 of them, adding these two together, and set up over 300 appointments. And this is, mind you, for a team of 6 LOs. So a team of 5 or 6 LOs.
Yeah.
So for 5 or 6 LOs in a month, we're setting up about 300 appointments and 150 or so live connections. And this is sort of the activity that's going out per day and a breakdown of the outcomes. If we go into the daily call stats, you can see what's happening on a day-by-day basis with a pretty granular view in terms of the conversions. So for example, over here, you can see that we're sitting at like a 25% connect rate, with a transfer rate of just over 8% and 13-14% in terms of appointments. But overall, like adding these two up, that gets you to around 21% connect to positive, positive outcome rate. What we found helped to drive, so now how do you drive the transfers and appointments to actually become applications that get filled, submitted, and processed? What we found was that adding the extra components to our system, where we actually introduce a group chat concierge to introduce both parties, carry the conversation forward, nurture the customer over text to actually remind them to fill certain parts of the application, really helped in driving the applications being filled every month as well.
No, I love it. I mean, I could see this even using for recruiting purposes, where lenders could use this to pre-qualify or to engage with other loan officers to see if they might be interested in a conversation to make a move from one lender to another. You know, it's really, I'm assuming you could customize this to really any outbound use case, right?
Yes, exactly. So we are doing that actively for many lenders. We work with Fly Homes, for example, and the primary use case that we work together on is actually for LO recruitment, where we can reach out to a set of LOs and introduce the Fly Home product. This is a great tool actually for lenders to be able to introduce their specific loan products to brokers that can offer those to end clients.
Got it.
For example, with Fly Homes, we work with the lender on DSCR and non-QM loans, and a few others in the space.
I love this. This is great. No, I mean, it's so accelerated. I love it. And I imagine you can plug this into probably any CRM that a company's using to be able to pull the contact information of prospective loan officers or prospective consumers or past clients. And that's where it populates the contacts and then makes the outbound calls. No, I mean, you've made just an amazing amount of progress. You know, I love it. Any kind of future features you want to talk to, or you want to just keep that under your vest until you release those, and then we can have you back on the show? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think we can save it for another time. But just to give a sneak peek, we are thinking actively about further down in the funnel, being able to help consumers with their application, for example, is one, and make sure that we can sort of increase the application fill rate to get those submitted. The other one that we found as a significant friction within many of the lending teams we work with is definitely on the processing side. So especially brokers that have in-house processing teams are working with many lenders, and being able to read all the documents that come in as images, even sideways images from previous mortgage statements, ordering, and then taking that information, finding the right customer service number, ordering a payoff, for example, to a past servicer, ordering the title, insurance, and keeping the realtor in the loop during the process of closing the loan, is something that's very tedious for in-house processing teams. And we're actively working on a few solutions that can help address that.
Fascinating. I love it. Well, I look forward to having you back on the show here in a couple of months, and maybe 2 or 3 months. And we could sort of, maybe it'd be even great to have one of your customers on the show to kind of talk to how much it's been, what burdens it has taken off the plate of loan officers or of the servicing platform, or just to talk about sort of the experience of using one of these solutions. I think that'd be a good idea, actually. But well, good. I appreciate you being on the show here at Real Fridays, and this is a wrap. But I wish you the best of luck. I love this, and I'm excited to see some great things to come here with Flair Labs.
Excellent. Yeah, always great to be on. So thank you so much.
Take care, Samir.
Thanks.